Hey, Joseph, glad to have you on the show today, man. Thanks for coming out. I just appreciate you being here because I think you are a cool guy and just one of my favorite people that I've recently started to get to know a little bit.
Anytime I get to talk to Chris, it's a good time.
Dude, how come I feel that way about you? I don't feel like you should say that about me. It's the opposite. How's your day going, man?
It's been good. It's a busy day. Out of my team of 4, I'm the only one currently in Wichita right now. Everybody else is vacationing. So I'm boots on the ground for a lot of things happening, which is a lot of fun.
And you did say you were truly boots on the ground.
Yeah.
This morning.
Yeah. So, literally hiking through some like 4-foot tall grass this morning. Yeah. Boots on the ground.
So is that what a day in the life of a top producing realtor could look like?
It certainly could. It looks like a lot of
Walking
different
through
things,
4
right?
foot high grass.
Yeah, exactly. Sitting here with your blazer on and also, yeah.
Oh, you had that on?
No, not during the grass. That's what I'm saying. There's a lot of variance in a day, right? A lot of not very pretty things and a few pretty things along the way. Yeah.
That's crazy. Well, dude, I'm super excited to have you on the show. Thanks for helping us get this whole mortgage punk show off the ground. And introduce you to the Wichita market.
Hey, I'm excited. I know you're a big believer in education, and obviously with the educational background, I'm honored to sit here with you.
That's right. You are. Okay, we got to touch on that, dude. So why don't we start by answering the question, who is Joseph Hamer?
Joseph Hamer's from Wichita, so born and raised here. Got my degree in education, started teaching here in Wichita Public Schools. Really love that. Started investing in real estate in 2019. Knew that was a direction that I really fell in love with, and I wanted to make more money so I could invest more. And from that point, I realized administration, like an assistant principal, is kind of the next natural step to not only earn more money, but also increase my impact, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm a big believer in making a positive difference. And I thought, man, if I could take what I do in this classroom with 20 kids and I could do that in a school with 540 kids. Wow. Right.
So you started in a small school environment?
Yeah. I mean, just classroom size, right? Classroom size of 20 kids, right? I have a lot of control over that environment. And thought, man, if we could do something equally as special with an entire building, what a massive amplifier to the impact that I can make each year. So became assistant principal, quickly found out that wasn't really the role for me. It wasn't feeding me, spiritually, emotionally. It wasn't right. I still enjoyed a lot of my days. I loved the people I work with, loved serving families and kids. But I quickly learned this isn't the healthiest position for me to be in. And that's when I got my real estate license to go, head over heels, just follow that passion into real estate. And now we're sitting here today.
After you walked in some 4-foot high grass this morning. So you know what's crazy to me is I know a couple other very successful real estate agents that have come out of education. Mm-hmm. I don't know what it is with you guys and education, but that seems to be like, I don't know, a feeder for starting a real estate business.
Naturally, I think your heart is already in the right place, right? You don't go into education thinking you're going to make a ton of money. You go into education because you love taking care of people. You love to educate, right? And then beyond that, you're naturally talking with all different types of people. You're already addressing things that are quite stressful. You're talking with people actually about their largest asset, which isn't their home. It's probably their children, right? So you're already used to serving people in that capacity. Mm-hmm. And I think that transitions over to real estate really smoothly. And ultimately, a lot of people get burnt out in education. The numbers are pretty intense in that realm. And so I think real estate is a very transferable skill, although I'm not teaching anybody about, 3rd grade math. Sometimes when we break down the net sheet, right?
You just add a couple zeros.
Yeah, exactly.
And the decimal point.
But yeah, I mean, the overall people skills and the work ethic are very transferable.
Interesting. I would have never thought about that. So I guess what triggered your pursuit towards education to begin with? Like what set you in motion, or what was the fire or the spark that lit that fire, I guess? So
in high school, my mom was working at an elementary school, and she was the lunch lady for a little bit and then moved in to be their secretary and that sort of thing. And so my senior year, I could volunteer for a class, right? Which is super cool because it's like, I get to leave school and go somewhere else during high school and I don't have to be in, whatever. And so I went over to her school and I started volunteering in their class for students with autism. just fell in love with it. Like strongest connections you could ever make, having fun, problem solving, figuring out what they're communicating to me, what we can do. Like I fell in love with it.
Wow.
So initially I went into education to solely be a special education teacher. And from there, I realized how big inclusion is now, meaning, most kids, unless it's, really significant delay, most kids are included into the classroom, at least for the majority of the day.
Okay.
And so from there, I pivoted into the general education classroom. And that's
so you had to shift away from really what you were passionate about because of the changes in the education system.
Yeah, I also just found kind of a new love. And I think that's important too, is just being, again, a transferable skill of being flexible, right? Being able to know and feel something that you believe in, that you're passionate about, that you love, but also not being so rigid, thinking like, oh, I have to do this one thing, right? Different doors are going to open up. You just know what path you should be on,
right?
And being open to kind of where that might lead you.
So was it like the problem solving aspect, or was it like I get to really help someone and make a big difference in their life? Or was it kind of both of those two things together?
Yeah, I think it was the connection and the impact. Right off the get-go, right? It's like, man, I was sincerely looking forward to go work with those kids, right? And then same thing in the classroom. It's that connection and then an impact. I think also with impact comes value or just being needed, right? I always served a population of kids that sincerely needed me, not just because I was a positive male role model for them, but also a true caring individual that looks after them, that understands if they didn't get sleep last night or, like just having somebody like that. It's beyond their education, and more so, I saw it really as kind of setting the foundation for them to later be successful human beings.
If that's what lit the fire for you in education, what lit the real estate? So you started investing in real estate, right? That's kind of where this path began, this new chapter path began.
So 2019, realize that why am I paying rent when I could be paying a mortgage? Like that's kind of when all those light bulbs were going off. And so my wife and I bought our first live-in flip, demoed it, renovated.
Live-in flip.
Yes.
Live-in flip. All right. I want everyone to understand those terms a little bit because some people might be familiar with that. Some people not.
Yeah.
So you bought this with the intention to flip it, right? But you bought it as your primary residence. You probably were able to get some good favorable banking terms, I would think, with that, so that you can afford to buy a house and then benefit from it later.
Yeah,
did you fix it up, you and your wife together?
Yes, yeah, and luckily, my wife's dad used to remodel homes before the market crash of '08, and so he had a lot of experience, and he came down for 4 days and 3 nights. And pretty much every day he taught me a different trade. Like day one, we had already done the demo. So the kitchen, had big holes in the walls, all the cabinets were gone, flooring was taken up. So when he came in, it really was like, all right, what do we do? Right? Oh, yeah.
And he wasn't mad at you for it. He wasn't like telling his daughter, who did you marry?
Yeah.
Who's this guy?
Well, at least not in front of me. Right. But yeah, so pretty much each day he taught me something different. We did drywall one day, plumbing one day, electrical one day. And then for plumbing, he went down and showed me the copper lines and how to run them and how to connect them. And he's like, all right, now you do the bathroom sink. And I did it, went upstairs, checked it. It's like, oh, the cold water is now hot and the hot water is now cold. There's a lot of that, right? But ultimately, I'm so beyond thankful for that. And we continued to do the work ourselves on our first 3 flips or our first 3 renovations. And that put me in a place to where now I do pay contractors to do the work, but I have a really good understanding of the method of things should be done,
so
how things should be done. Exactly. And I'm not kind of behind a veil of, I don't know, I hope they're doing it right. So yeah, super thankful for that part of the journey.
So did homeownership just kind of like this live and flip idea that you and your wife came up with? Like, did that come just from values that were instilled into both of you growing up, that like homeownership's a good thing? Or did you watch something? I don't know.
Yeah.
Did you see a
4
movie?
4 letters. HGTV. Or Chip and Joanna, right?
Yeah, Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, we watched a ton of that. So we're like,
kidding.
Oh my gosh, yeah, we can do it. And then it's like slaps you in the face when, you used to have a perfectly fine kitchen that was outdated, and now you have holes in a wall and no floor. And you're like, what? We don't
That's
know
funny.
what we're doing.
So Chip and Joanna Gaines and their TV show literally triggered this pursuit.
Absolutely. Yeah.
See, that's what I wanted to get to. I wanted to know like what lit the whole fire to begin with. So did your wife like what aspects of real estate did she like when you guys were watching those shows?
Yeah. She loves the design
part, or
100%.
Like the before and after transformation, like what's...
Yeah, both of those things. So she loves the design. She loves the creativity. She loves getting things just right. You know, she's not happy until they're just how she expected it to, or how she imagined it to come to play. And so she loves that side of things. She loves the design. And yeah, definitely the before and after.
Are you on the same page with her on the design side, or do you like the numbers? Like, were you watching the zeros add up at the bottom of the screen?
Yeah,
on their TV show?
Definitely more of a doer and interested in numbers. Like, oh yeah, that is crazy profit. Now though, it's like, oh, they didn't show this, or like they didn't talk about the cost of their hard money during that flip. You know, like, they talked about the purchase, the renovation, and this. But how come they're not talking about their carrying costs of utilities?
We got some money, a bag of money.
Yeah,
I know. I've gotten that impression.
So definitely that side of things. I also like being busy. I don't do well sitting still. And so I always tease that like she has the vision and I make it come to life. So if she wants built-in cabinets, then it's for me to draw it up, measure it, figure out what to do, build it or order it or whatever it might be needed. And so, and she's hands-on too. She's happy to do a lot of the work, especially when it comes to painting and cleaning and doing all those things. Putting together furniture when we're doing our furnished rentals, all of that. So it's definitely a team atmosphere, but I certainly don't chime in too much when it comes to design. I know my lane, and I know if I designed all of our stuff, it'd probably still be sitting on the market.
That's great. So, but is she still actively involved?
Yep, absolutely. Yeah.
With
so
your real estate business in that sense?
Yeah. So we just finished a new medium-term rental. So she did all the furnishing for that. I mean, she spends a lot of time making sure we get the best deals, making sure it's a high-quality product. And then a lot of time together too, deep cleaning that place after the renovation was done and building all the furniture. And we're under contract right now for our next flip. And so same thing, it's Amazon Prime Day right now. And so today I had like 18 boxes show up because even though we close next week, we're like, hey, everything's like 40% off. So like all of our light fixtures, everything's showing up right now. So that's all her. And of course, you know, she's like, hey, take a look at this, or which, you know, out of these three, which one do you like? And it's definitely collaborative in that sense, but she certainly has the majority of the design aspects of that.
Well, speaking of design, I got to take a minute, and we've got to thank someone here for sponsoring this podcast. And that's Travis Whistler, someone we both know now with TW Custom Homes. Travis is actually a business partner of mine in another venture that we started back in about 2016, 17. Since then, he's come along to become a builder in the Wichita market. So this episode is being fueled by TW Custom Homes, where your dream home isn't just built, it's crafted, but from the ground up, not the Chip and Joanna Gaines style, right? So Travis and his crew are the real deal. They've got high-end finishes, thoughtful design, and zero shortcuts. So if you're building in Wichita and you want a home that actually fits you, that's a little bit more semi-custom, hit up TW Custom Homes at twcustomhomes.com and tell them more, or tell Travis Chris sent you his way. Appreciate Travis and his help.
And I want to put a plug in for Travis. I actually just got a builder contract with Travis, and my client asked me later, hey, how'd you feel? You know, we sat down with Travis, we went over the plans, we did all of that together. Yeah. And she was like, yeah, I really thought he was down to earth. He took his time for us. You know, obviously we're very busy. As soon as the meeting's over, we're up and we're out of there. Yep. But during that process, sitting down together, revising, looking at the pricing sheet, making sure we get down to our budget, just like, it's like we had all of his attention in the world, and that meant a lot to us on a custom build. And something that not all builders, right? Like a lot of builders are really good at construction and building, not super great with their people skills. Yeah. And for Travis, we felt like, man, he really listened to us. He worked with us, and he had the time to sit down and give us his whole attention. That was awesome.
Awesome. Dude, I am glad that you contributed to that minute commercial. There you go, Travis. You got it, brother. I love it. All right. So moving back to your story. So you go from education to Chip and Joanna Gaines to flipping your own houses. What year was that?
So bought that first house in 2019, lived in it for 2 years, and then we sold it. And that again was from all the learning I was doing, like, oh, we don't have to pay, capital gains tax on that short-term income if we live in it for 2 years. So bought our next house, gutted it, renovated it. That's the house we're currently living in. And then we realized, like, okay, we've done this twice. We can actually do this. And from there, we bought a house in 2023 and flipped it. And then in 2024, we bought 2 rentals and flipped 2 houses. And yeah, just kind of reaffirming each time, right? Like you don't always make a killing, but it's always like, oh, wow, that was a crazy problem. And we got through it and we learned from it and we're still doing okay. And we had some fun,
So how many flips are you guys in?
I think we're under contract on our 5th or 6th, and then we have a duplex in a single family house, and we sold one of our single family rentals that we had. And I'll kind of call that a flip. We only owned it for a year. The tenant had moved out. The house was in such bad shape that we decided to invest a little more in the renovation and go ahead and just sell to get out of the that neighborhood specifically.
Okay.
And so, yeah, 5 or 6 in terms of flips, and then a few rentals.
So do you think there's a difference in real estate between realtors who sell homes to home buyers and realtors who are heavily invested in the investment side, I guess, or aspect of real estate?
I would say there's a difference in mindset. Like certainly when you walk through a house, right? Like a realtor always has their fiduciary responsibility to help keep an eye out, right? But of course, they're not foundation experts. They're not experts in anything. However, on the investment side, I've done enough renovations, walked through enough houses. I've got a pretty good eye in terms of like, oh, this is going to be a big cost for us. And that's super helpful for investors. So I think in general, realtors have to have a different mindset because the other part of the time, the home buyers, I feel like they're coming in there with a little bit more emotion. And so navigating those showings and that process a little bit differently because it's not a dollar figure investment expecting a return. It's a next chapter of their life, So I do think it gets navigated differently.
Would you say that mindset is adopted because you flipped homes and you learned construction?
Yeah.
Technically? Like if you're advising a new realtor that's getting into the industry and they want to focus in the investment aspect of it, is that the advice you to give them is go invest in some real estate yourself?
I do think it's an advantage because I naturally now look at properties with an investment standpoint, right? So when I look at a property, I'm thinking about numbers. And so it's certainly an advantage because I might have my ears perked to something that a typical realtor might. For example, the house we're under contract on has an unfinished basement that already has an egress window. So there were some things that was like, oh, this is actually about to be an additional 800 square feet, an additional bedroom, like this alone, right? And so when I send those deals to my investors, I've had several investor clients that are repeat customers for me. Like, to be honest, I've never had realtors send me deals before. And so then they start bringing me more value back. And it's all because just naturally my mind is kind of programmed to analyze deals that way because I've analyzed so many.
You're computing not just for someone buying their own house. You're looking at it from, this could be a flip. This home could be flipped.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
Or it can make a great rental.
And it can also be a struggle too. Naturally, I'm not the most emotionally invested person. Like I'm very analytical. I always take my next best step. Like I don't overthink things too much. And so that can also be something I have to be intentional about when I am working with a home buyer, right? Because I'm looking at the numbers. It makes sense. You're getting a great price for the neighborhood.
Right.
Oh, a little bit of paint's not a big, like I can be so like, wow, this is certainly a great home. It checks all your boxes. It's in the right neighborhood. It doesn't need that much work, blah, blah, blah. That sometimes I have to be intentional about like stepping back and be like, oh yeah, this isn't an investment for them. This is their next chapter. This is where they're putting down roots or this is where they're retiring. And so I would say, yeah, you're on both sides, right? So even though I naturally am analytical and I have to be intentional about slowing down and thinking about those emotions, someone who's the opposite could do the same. If you're naturally oohing and ahhing at the crown molding, you might have to be intentional about doing some research ahead in time and bringing numbers with you.
Right. Because I always, and tell me what your thoughts are on this, but I'll get calls a lot from first-time investors, and they're not necessarily connected to a specific real estate agent. Sometimes they are, sometimes they're not. Sometimes they're showing up at a real estate investment meetup, and they're trying to collect information and they're trying to learn. And so one of the things that I advise them to do from the finance side of the fence is to, if they're going to connect with a realtor, I would highly suggest they connect with one that's has a specialty niche with investment properties. Because in my opinion, I don't know if this is right or not, but in my opinion, just from experience, I would think that probably less than 5% of the realtor population knows what they're doing when it comes to flipping houses or owning a portfolio of rental properties. Would you say that's...
Yeah, I have no idea on
am I
a
on par, or
percentage.
do I need to change my script?
No, but I do think there's a super small percentage that is knowledgeable and also not primarily an investor, right? I'm primarily a realtor who also invests, right? So I'm looking to buy 1 or 2 rentals a year, flip 1 or 2 houses a year. There's a lot of realtors who are primarily an investor. They have their license so they can run comps.
They're not helping Mr. and Mrs.
But
Smith or
someone
whatever.
might go to them and then maybe be disappointed because they're not getting as much help as they're expecting. So I do think there's a very small population who are very knowledgeable in terms of investment strategies and what to look for and running comps that are also not just buying up all those deals themselves, right? The house I'm under contract right now is the first deal in 12 months that I didn't send to my investors first because it was going to have to be purchased like 20,000 below asking. And so I just thought, well, let me cast my reel here first. I'm not going to toss this to my investors when it's already such a big gap. So I shot my shot and went under contract on it. But 99% of the time when I see a deal, I'm always pushing it out to my top 2 or 3 investors because the more I feed them, the more that gets fed to me, right? And so I really, again, look at that on the relationship side is I want to have a multi-year repeat customer business with my investors. Of course, I work with a lot of, hit and miss investors throughout, but I really prefer those long-term repeat customers.
So with your production, you're definitely a rising star in our Wichita market. That's why you're on this show, because this is a rock show. It's mortgage punk. So we are punk. Yeah, we're punk rockers. So you got to be a rock star to pass, and you're like rising to the top. How much of your business and production would you say is allocated to investment properties versus helping a home buyer with their first home or a move-up buyer, sell and buy a bigger house?
Absolutely. If you look at purely production numbers, it's a little bit over 60% is investment, but about 60% investment, maybe 55 to 60%. If you look at total volume of transactions, like the pure number of transactions, it's about 2 investor transactions to 1 home buyer. And so to put that in perspective, when it comes to time, my sphere of influence, my friends, families, colleagues that are either buying a house or selling their house, those transactions are usually larger, right? Than my investors who are buying or selling rental houses or these smaller flips, right? But again, it also may not take as much time and management because they're experienced, right? So I would say it's actually about equal. In terms of how much time gets invested between my sphere of influence and my investors. Although Troy on my team's like, your investors are part of your sphere of influence because I spend so much time with them, which is true. But 100%. I do like to, when I speak about sphere of influence, I am talking friends, families, colleagues that are not investors.
Right.
But yeah, I think it takes about equal time and it comes out to almost equal. It's funny. I reviewed my numbers for this year now that we're halfway through the year. And it's like almost a 50-50 split in buying and selling, almost a 50-50 split in terms of investors and sphere, and so it's kind of cool. And at first I'm like, oh man, well, my homeowners, my sphere of influence, their purchase prices are way higher and their seller prices are way higher. I really need to lock in on them. But the thing is I'm actually really happy with where I'm at right now. I'm getting to serve people that I know, like, and trust. And I'm also getting to work a lot with investors. And so I'm sure my business will grow and change and develop over the next several years.
So would you agree with my position that most realtors are not set up as more investment savvy realtors?
Yeah.
Most realtors help home buyers buy their next home.
Yeah. And I think there's certainly a lot of good realtors out there who can help investors, but especially when you look at, like, in South Central Kansas, there's something like 2,800 realtors. yeah, I'm confident saying that most are not investment savvy, but there's within the Wichita market. I mean, I'd be happy to connect people. And sometimes if I'm busy or if it doesn't feel like, if the things that bother me are what this investor needs and you know, I'm whatever, I refer people to other investor savvy realtors, right?
Right.
Because at the end of the day, I want people to just have a successful, smooth and confident transaction. And sometimes that means it's not with me because our strengths don't align together, if that makes sense.
Well, and that's something I wanted to make sure that we communicated to the people listening to this podcast and this episode, is that there's a difference between investor savvy realtors and what I would call just retail, I guess, realtors that are just helping consumers buy homes, buy and sell houses.
Yeah. And with artificial intelligence, you know, a lot of realtors could certainly put the content out there that they are investor savvy. You know, if somebody texted me like, hey, man, I'm looking at this, does this deal make sense? They could probably take the bedrooms, bath comps, go put in ChatGPT and spit out a really well articulated investor savvy response, right?
Yeah.
Even if someone's like, oh, you know, this seller financing, or I don't know, I was thinking about doing a medium term rental. Do you think that would be good in this market? You know, like I think with the help of AI and I mean, even Google.
So how do you cut past that, Joseph? If I'm an investor and I'm new and I'm an aspiring investor, how do I, and I'm shopping realtors, how do I cut past ChatGPT, AI, someone feeding me a line that I want to hear?
Yeah.
What would you say?
I think it's got to come down to track record, right? Asking their personal experience, and then of course like meeting with them in person too. Yeah. I think if it's hard to always get time, but if you can sit down and talk to somebody and learn more about their story, you're going to know really quick. Even if they say like, oh yeah, I'm good at all of this, but then it turns out like all they do is Airbnb. Okay, maybe that's a great person in terms of that, but maybe that's not the long-term, rental advice that you need.
I was hoping you might answer it that way, because that's the advice I give to my clients is, hey, I can point you in the direction of some amazing realtors like Joseph. But at the end of the day, you need to be asking, if you're going to go out and interview realtors on your own, you need to be asking those realtors, how many homes have they flipped and how many rentals do they own? If they have no flip history, no rental history, then I would conclude that that realtor probably does not have the kind of strategic expertise that you would have.
Yeah, I mean, because again, you know, before we started, I was in the top 1% of Bigger Pockets podcast listeners. And I had all their books on my shelf that I've read and read and read. And I had a lot of knowledge, but not a lot of experience at first. Right. So I could have even talked a good game,
could have steered
but I would
someone kind of in the right direction.
I could have sat down and had coffee
with the knowledge
and really made you think that I was a experienced, savvy investor, when really it's like, oh, I'm living in my first live-in flip. I've actually not done anything, you know, like
you haven't even put any money in the bank yet.
Yeah. Do you think track record is important?
Yeah.
And two, there's some people that have tried their hand at a lot of projects and maybe not had much success, or they're going about it irresponsibly. And so I don't think you have to be like, oh, how much, what'd you invest and what's your profit and I don't think you have to get to that point, but I do think you have to really vet people to see, do you know what you're talking about? And have you had your teeth cut a couple times and you kind of know what you're doing versus like, oh yeah, we flipped one house, or just talking a good game.
But I guess you could apply that to anything. Track record is just experience, right? And someone who's shopping for a realtor and all they want is just a really good realtor could be looking at that, not even having anything to do with investments, right?
Yep. And I'd say
that's a good point.
To new realtors too, who maybe, or new investors that don't have a lot of experience themselves, know that's one piece of the puzzle, right? When I was starting out in my first few transactions, my strength wasn't that I've sold 100 homes, right? It was that I didn't have as many active clients right now. So you get my full attention. I'm going to be boots on the ground. I'm going to be doing, doing way more than at that point, your top producing realtor who can take it, who can put a sign in the yard, who can use their marketing.
But only has a small amount of time.
But can't answer your phone call, right? And so to those listening, they're like, oh man, I haven't done any flips, right? There's different strengths that you might be able to add to still support investors. But I do think at the end of the day, action takes like top priority.
So I've got an investor client of mine, Joseph, and his name is Michael Gom. He is the owner of Glass Guru of Wichita. And so I want to put the spotlight on his business for a minute because he's one of the sponsors of today's podcast. And so if you've got glass, listen, he will save your... I'll just leave it at that. That's his jingle. So if you got broken glass in your house, or if you're walking a property, Joseph, and you notice, okay, there's a piece of broken glass that needs to be fixed before we can list this house, that's one thing I need to notate. That's where Michael Gom comes in and Glass Guru of Wichita. They will actually fix the glass itself without having to replace the whole window because the whole window is 10 times more expensive than fixing a little break in the window. So if you've got that issue in your home at all, with any glass, any mirrors in your house at all, whether it's fogged up windows, shattered glass, or a custom mirror for that kick butt bathroom reno that you're doing, these guys show up fast, which he does, by the way. He is fast. They do it right. They don't play games, and they'll take super good care of you. They are in our rock star status club. So they're local, they're honest, and they're sharp as glass,
Hey,
Joseph.
there you go.
So anyhow, just wanted to put a plug out there to Michael Gom. And you said that you promote. Is that where you send?
And again, it's
broken
because
glass fixes
he's affordable, he's fast, and he's client friendly, right? Again, like we were talking about with Travis, there's a lot of people that could maybe fix your window and maybe fix it for like dirt cheap, but maybe you don't feel super comfortable with letting them in your home to fix it. Michael's kind of the best of all worlds. Yeah, you can give him a hug when he's done.
You can, actually. Michael, we love you, man. Thanks for sponsoring the podcast. What is your biggest rookie mistake or mistakes, and how do you avoid them?
Wow. How much time do we have today?
All day, man.
No.
We're going to shoot the longest podcast in history and get a lot of views.
Sure.
But you're going to be saying, why aren't we out working?
And why did all the views stop after like 3 minutes in? No, I think one of the I don't know if it's even the biggest mistake, but certainly being overeager, right? So, and it's a pro and a con, and I think that's how all life is, right? There's lessons in every failure, and that failure is one step closer to success. But I think early on, I took an expired lead, and I was super happy. I was pumped. I got it. It was like a $725 or $750 or $700,000 listing, and I was like, oh my God! I'm looking at numbers, right? Like my commission on this is gonna be crazy. Wow, this is gonna go great. Blah blah. And I walk in,
and you revived it. So there's like an aspect of like, it was dead.
Yeah, and she believes in me, and I'm valuable now, right? I'm restoring her hope. So I felt value, I felt connected, I felt ego to be selling such a large house early on. And my big mistake was I'm very used to not buying $700,000 houses. I'm very comfortable in the 250 market before now. Now that I've been in so many houses, I definitely understand the different buyer pools and how discriminating a buyer is at that price point. So I walked into there with my pretty young eyes like, oh my God, look at the tray ceilings and look at this and look at this. And oh my gosh, the yard. Wow. And
this is like my $250,000 home, but on steroids.
I wish I could live here. Right. And is that the eyes that are my $750,000 buyers came in with? Not at all, right? They're like, oh, this scuffs. Yeah. Oh, this needs painted. This I feel like I smell dog downstairs. Oh, this, right? And it was like, oh, well, now I've overpromised and underdelivered, right? And it got to a point where the showings were just really tough for her and her family. They were living there during the time, and we ended up canceling that listing. And I loop back around, like literally to this day, I still put a bug in her ear because I do think I have a way better understanding. I'm way more qualified than I was back then. And so I wouldn't say it's, it's certainly a failure, but I don't know if it's a mistake. Does that make sense?
Any other walls.
Yeah, you want to open up the dark closets.
Recording a rap music video. Joseph.
Yeah. Once again, certainly that one
If you
actually.
want to see Joseph's most viewed videos, guys, just go look for him rapping. It's probably the only one out there, I would assume.
And that one is actually definitely a mistake, but not a failure. So that's on the opposite side of things. No, I think you make mistakes all the time. And early on into the episode, I think I share that I always just take my next best step, and that has a lot of value to it. I move a lot faster than other people. Not when I run, but literally, like I act on what I believe is truly my next best step. And sometimes that means I hit failure more quickly. I make mistakes more quickly, but I'm also constantly willing to learn, to improve, to admit, to apologize.
Like how do you improve? How do you learn? What do you do?
I do think you have to be open. And sometimes that hurts, right? If somebody's telling you that you messed up, or you feel that rejection, or you know that you whatever it might be. But I think you just have to be willing to accept that, internalize it, and however you need to, but you learn from it and you move on.
Where do you go, or what resources do you go to if you don't have, either if you feel like you don't have the knowledge, I guess, to make the correction, or you want to make sure that you make the best correction possible? Does that make sense?
No, 100%. And I think I'm happy you brought that up, because I do think that's a big part. I love feeling value, and I love being the best that I can be, but it's not lost on me that I'm nothing without my support system. So when it comes to investing, I have Pints Properties, I have the Wichita Area Real Estate Investor Association, I have Jason's Lunches, I have a whole community.
So
if I
in
need
the community,
something,
so you got community.
Yep.
So that's one way to grow, and fix.
And then
and correct.
Also with our team aspect, right? So if it's something in regards to the realtor side of things, I'm on a team of 4. They're all very experienced. They all have different strengths. And so being able to come to a team, but I think your team looks differently for different problems in terms of what solution you need. And I think that's the most important thing, is that you have people in your network, because you're not going to be an expert. You're not going to be perfect. It's important that you know who to go to.
Right.
And if you're trying to do everything by yourself, well, that's why when you fail, it's hard to get back up, right?
So you surround yourself with community, you surround yourself with experts, and you get humble when you have to eat humble pie.
Yeah. And you also just don't stop working, right? Like I don't wallow.
Right.
If I mess
Pick
up,
yourself up.
You keep moving, right? Yeah. And it's not easy for a lot of people, but I've always had the mindset of like, that super sucks, but also sitting here and being like, oh, this super sucks, doesn't do anything but prolongs it. And so, yeah. And maybe that will like make me fail more often, but I also am okay with it, because I'm just going to keep moving forward. Yeah.
All right. So let's talk for a minute, since you mentioned it, about Pints Properties, because that is definitely a big plug. I want you to take a minute to unpack, promote. I'll let you talk about it.
Yeah, so we'll rewind back to the 2019 days, right? So I'm jumping into bigger pockets. I'm reading books. I'm listening to podcasts. I'm all in, starting to make social media videos again, right? I had a good talk before I was ever really doing anything, because I was just diving in. I was in love. I was
passionate about it.
Yeah, I was passionate about it. And at that time, I was a teacher still, and the most popular meetup in the Wichita area was these luncheons, and it was on the third Wednesday of every month. It's now at the Strategic Workspace, and it's at noon, third Wednesday of every month. And they still continue, but
teachers
I can't
get
leave.
There very easy.
Yeah, I can't leave at 11:45. Leave my class, go right. So it wasn't possible.
Yeah.
So let's see, 2.5 years ago now, I put a post on the Facebook group close to Christmas, New Year's time, because I wanted to be more intentional about making connections within the investment community. I just put like, hey, if it is, I have a W-2 job that I can't get to these luncheons, but I really want to network with people. Would anybody want to get a beer and talk about real estate instead? And literally before the end of that night, there was like 62 comments. I was like, oh, well, this is kind of when it's like I act.
That's better than a jingle, man.
Yeah. Still not as many comments as my rap video, but no. And so then it was like, okay, well, what's my next best step? What do I need to do? I need to find a venue. What are my favorite breweries? Reached out to a few of them. Central Standard offered to host us for free. They would reserve a table on. I just asked them, like, what's your slowest night? Let me bring you some business on your slowest
Sure.
night of the month.
It's great.
Or the slowest night of the week or slowest night of the month. And yeah, and then if you can reserve that for us. And that did amazing for 2 years. And then 2 years in, Central Standard started having live music every Thursday. And so it kind of got to a point where it's like, oh, this is really tough to network. And that's what we're all about. And so now we meet on the first Thursday of every month at Wichita Brewing Company in Delano, their new location. And it's from 7 to 9 upstairs, but it's super cool. There's no sponsors for the event. There's nobody presenting. It's just all organic networking. So we have contractors. Yeah, we have agents, but it's a lot of people who are flippers and investors and furnishers and project managers, new construction builders, hard money lenders, everybody in the space is there networking. In fact, I've been bringing like my home inspector. I invite him out, some handymen that are asking me, like, they did a good job for me. They're asking me for work that I don't have right now. I tell them to come and they're showing up and they're getting work. So it's become an event where people are coming and they're truly not just getting value, but all of the people that are providing value. And man, it's been so cool.
That's one of the things that I think we probably connected on early on in our relationship. And what I love about it is it's just a really cool way to like serve the community, and it takes the spotlight kind of off your business, but not really. And I like that kind of stuff where a business can provide a service to the community. It's not a direct sale necessarily to their business, but it still, enhances and promotes their business just in a really cool, organic, cool way.
Yeah. I still get caught off guard when people are like, oh yeah, you're the one that hosts this, because I just like remind people to show up, right? Like I talked to Wichita Brewing Company about giving us a table back here, right? Like I don't really host it. I don't put anything on. I don't pay for anything, right? This is free to me to host. I just organize it. I promote it. And then when I'm there, I get to be a connector, right? Like, oh, Chris, you need a home inspector. Hey, that guy right there, I've been using lately. You need to go talk to him, or somebody else needs hard money or a contractor, whatever it is. I get to kind of play like the connector, which again, like you said, doesn't always bring business to me, but I enjoy providing value. And so I get that. Now I do get a lot of business from there, right? Like my most repeat customers, the people who've bought and sold the most with me over the last 12 months do come to Pints Properties, right? The contractor that I use does come to Pints Properties. So there's a lot of value that I've got from that. But on the same hand, it's never been the intention behind it. It's been like a fruit that I've got to kind of reap the rewards of from just being consistent in, I guess, hosting it. But really, it's kind of not the best term for showing up and organizing it.
Dude, I think you've done fantastic. Super cool event. If you haven't been to Pints and Properties, you're interested in investing, man, that's definitely one of them you got to put on your calendar. I do. I try to show up every time if I can. I love it. And speaking of contractors, I got one contractor we need to mention, Joseph, that is a dynamite dude. He's in real estate. Probably need to invite him to Pints and Properties. And that's Daniel Keeley, who owns Keeley Roofing. So we want to give a shout out to you, Daniel, and your whole team on keeping up the biggest investment that people invest in oftentimes, which is their house. And you protect them from the top down. You love these. I mean, it's not even a jingle. It's kind of I don't know what you call that. So you got a leaky roof. You got storm damage. You got an insurance headache. These guys are the bomb. They don't flinch. They get things done. I know Daniel, all these people that sponsor the podcast, I would call them business friends. They're my business friends. They're rock stars. We don't promote people that do crappy work. They better not, or let me know. He does not do crappy work. He does really good work. He's dynamite. So if you need any kind of a roof problem fixed, or if you need a whole roof, call Keeley Roofing and let the pros handle it. Tell them Mortgage Punk sent you their way, because they are awesome. All right, Joseph, what other last minute? See, we nailed Pints and Properties. We got your big why. What moved you into real estate? Some of your not mistakes, but adjustments. That's kind of what you're getting at. You kind of have chiropractic adjustments
in
business.
Yeah,
right?
and I think in order to grow, you always have to be flexible and adjusting. I think it's the agents, the investors, whoever, whatever profession. It's the people who are stuck in their ways that aren't open to growing, who are feel like they've learned everything they need to learn, they've got everything they need, that end up struggling down the line. And so, yeah, even me being willing to like, oh, why am I spending money to farm a neighborhood of strangers when I could spend the same amount of money on people that I already know, like, and trust. And so, yeah, it's a lot of, maybe that's another mistake, right? Is like, I've tried a lot of different things, but I don't know. I don't like the word mistake because I'm not upset that I spent money or lost money or invested money that didn't get a return on it because I learned from it. Right. And so,
It's just a cost.
yeah,
It's a
absolutely. A cost of
calculated
business
cost
and a
of
tax
business.
write-off. Yeah. But now it's like, oh, yeah, wait a second. I could take that same amount of money that I'm putting in mailers to strangers and mail my people that I know, like, and trust. Oh, I could take the same amount of money that I'm doing this and do a monthly giveaway and raffle it off to people that I know, like, and trust. Like, I can stay top
Right.
of mind and pour back into my community.
Yeah.
So that's definitely been a change. Is like, yeah, I don't need to expand and get to know tons of different people. I don't need people on, I don't need 1 million followers on Instagram and people messaging me to say they want to sell their house, right? I want to take care of the
Right.
people that I know, like, and trust. I want to work with the investors that I love to do business with,
Yep.
because of their values. And so I've really been able to kind of realize that's where I find the most joy. And again, I went into real estate because this is where I found joy. And I certainly want to hold true to that because it's the value of life, right? The overall enjoyment that I get each day is because of the way that I choose to end up running the business.
So, because you run Pints and Properties, which, by the way, very few realtors put on citywide events. I mean, that's pretty unique. That's what I love about you, is you're definitely one of the few that does something really unique like that. What are some of your favorite breweries in the Wichita market?
Well, Central Standard Brewing is probably my favorite beer.
Okay.
Wichita Brewing Company, of course, hosting us. They have amazing beer. And actually, what people really like about Wichita Brewing Company, too, now that it's there, is they have cocktails and different food and stuff. And so that's brought a lot of different value instead of somebody who doesn't really like beer. So Central Standard was like, I'm going to come for the knowledge, right? But I don't love
Right.
craft beer. So, huge shout out to Wichita Brewing Company for that. But there's a ton of fun local breweries around town. I think it's important to I don't know, go out and try them.
Go
But
on
for
a
me,
brewery
it's
tour.
yeah, sure. For me, it's just IPAs. Like I enjoy a good IPA, and so
Yeah.
that's always what I try. Whatever brewery I head out to.
Most common BS you hear in real estate is what?
Predictions of the future, whether it be interest rates or markets or home values or uh, I'm going to be sending you an offer. Like whatever. Anything that's like so far out is just like noise, right?
Like a stretch.
Yeah, I think there's just a lot of BS that gets put out there, a lot of ideas that are, and maybe they're right? But I think in general, the biggest BS is just people pretending they know what's going to happen when they don't, instead of just looking at what current market is and advising and looking at historical
Yeah.
data, advising on that, but not making a promise or a prediction about what's to come.
Right. It's like ride the wave that's here.
Mm-hmm.
These are the interest rates here. Here's what the housing market's doing. Here's what prices are doing. I couldn't agree more. What is the best piece of advice you've ever been given?
Choose your hard.
Real estate or not? Just anything.
Choose your hard.
Choose your hard.
Mm-hmm.
That comes from David Goggins.
No, it was, I heard it a couple years ago.
It's a speaker. He's a speaker, inspirational speaker of some kind.
That
I think
it hit me really hard. Because I'm a guy who likes to work and get busy, but the idea is like, hey, going on runs in the evening or in the mornings is hard, right? But so is having a way more calorie intake than what you're burning off, right?
Yeah, which one you want?
Right. Or
to choose your hard.
Yeah, choose your hard, right? And so there's a lot behind that. To relate it back to my big switch, I was an assistant principal. I had a great salary, benefits, retirement that was going to be coming, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, right? I could leave and go to Patagonia for 10 days and still get paid the same amount of money when I got back. There's a lot of safety in that. But I had put on 40 pounds and I wasn't like the most or the best self I could be at home, right? There was a lot of things. And so like
That was hard.
that was hard.
Right.
Leaving my job to go into real estate after having my license for 3 months, but like just believing in myself, that's also hard, right?
Yeah.
I had to choose my hard. And so for me, man, there's so much to it. And of course it's not as simple as that, but I think choosing your hard is the best advice because, yeah, sometimes it's like, man, I'm sitting on the couch and it's like, God, I don't want to do anything, right? It's hard for me to get up and grab my laptop.
And no one's telling you what to do
last
except
night
you.
working on a repair request at like 11:30 at night. Like, I don't want to do that, but you know, it's going to be harder trying to go to sleep thinking about like, oh, this, and this, right? So I think choose your heart is something that I try to live by. And it certainly helps me evaluate my next best step.
What's next for Joseph Hamer?
I don't know.
Next chapter.
You know, I hope that I continue to create a business with integrity that has great word of mouth, keep taking care of people that I know, like, and trust. Yeah, I mean, I don't have massive change, you know, plan. I'm very happy. I would love to continue to just keep growing what I'm doing, refining it, making sure my processes are better, making sure my people are even better taken care of. You know, of course, all of that. But I think my big turn in my chapter, you know, has turned this last year. And now 12 months in, I feel like this is where I'm meant to be. And so maybe what's next is getting to navigate life knowing that I'm in my right purpose.
Yeah.
Sure.
All of the plates spinning that you want. Spinning.
Yeah. Maybe they're wobbly, but yeah.
You're going to make them less wobbly.
Yeah.
That's any goal for like year over year growth.
Yeah. You know,
like I'd like to see this much growth year over year and I'd be super happy in all the things I'm doing.
Yeah. I would love to double it again next year. So
double.
In my first 6 months, I sold like 1.7 million. So from July to December of last year, whatever, January 1st of this year, 1.77 million. So I was super happy about that. First year in, closing a deal or two a month. Like I felt like, wow, you know, I'm doing it. This is maybe feasible. Up to this point this year, I'm at like 4.2 million, which is amazing, right?
Double.
So yeah, from 1.7 in 6 months to 4.2 in 6 months is great. And I think a lot of that has to do with putting the legwork in now, right? And I do think I love that about real estate is I don't get paid today for my hard work today, right? When I made $0 in January, not one closing in January, it's because during December, I didn't have a lot festering. We're on holidays, and I was like, wow, I got to set my own schedule. We're going to have fun during the holidays. We'll spend tons of time at home. January rolls around. It's like, oh, I've got no closings. I don't get paid this month, right? But I love that, you know, I'm really in control of the harder I work and the better I take care of people, that's going to come back. And I don't have to really worry about that. I'm just going to do the right things right, keep loving on people, keep making sure people are taken care of, and the rest of it will get figured out. But so this year, my GCI goal coming to me was 160,000. And that was so that after I save for my taxes and all of that, I'm making more money than I ever have. And I'm almost exactly on pace to make that happen this year, which is phenomenal.
You'll do it. I have zero doubt.
Yeah.
You're on the rise, man. I can't thank you enough for coming on the show today, Joseph, and kicking us off with this crazy show that we're going to bring to the Wichita community and introduce top performers, man. That's kind of the goal at the end of the day. So if you are a listener listening to this particular episode, you're shopping for a great realtor, hit up Joseph Hamer on Instagram or social media. You can follow him at Pints Properties ICT, right? On Instagram, Pints Properties ICT.
Joseph.hamer.realtor. I don't think I have an Instagram for Pints Properties, but yeah, joseph.hamer.realtor. Or probably the best way, to be honest, is just text or call me. It's 316-213-4986. That's where you're going to get the most timely response. But yeah, I'd love to connect. I want to give you a shout out as well. You're certainly making a positive wave here, and really also pouring into people that you know, like, and trust, and growing that, and running your brand with absolute integrity as well.
Thanks,
so
dude.
kudos to you as well.
Appreciate you big time, man. I love working with you. We've gotten to work more together here over the past few months, and I'm super stoked and excited about it. But dude, I just know you're going to do great. I mean, you're already doing great things in the community, but it's just going to get better. So I just sit back with some popcorn and I watch my friends like you do your thing and grow and blow up. So anyhow, dude, thanks for coming on the show. Thanks for contributing to our community, making Wichita great, making Wichita wonderful. So Joseph Hamer, everyone, with Reese Nichols. Appreciate you, brother.
Hey,
take care, man.
Thanks, Chris. Keep smiling.
I will, man. See ya. Thanks. Bye.